Good evening, guys. Welcome to Novak News. We're talking this evening about why building up, adding a second level like this can sometimes beat moving on. We're going to talk through some of the costs you'd incur when buying and selling, and some of the costs you'd incur when going through this process. And Thomas has actually just done this personally, so good insight here from someone who knows the numbers. Stay tuned. Good evening.
Good evening, Billy. Good evening, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. It's been a long day.
It has indeed. We've been waiting for this, actually.
Yeah.
I thought of this topic this morning as we were figuring out what we're going to bring on there, because I think this is a conversation that gets had around the dinner table a lot for young families. But I think we can also give people not only a bit of education from your recent experiences, but also a bit of like value add in what to look for and where we see clients make really good growth and build really strong wealth by minimizing the amount of moves they have to make between between properties.
Yeah, and it's actually a very real case scenario. Currently with my dad putting the second story onto our home on Storey Plateau.
Yeah.
But also just with a property we've listed in North Narrabeen, a single story home, 20 Collins Street.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of potential there with the purchase of that property. If they are a young couple with maybe some kids or kids on the way in the future, it's definitely a really good idea to put that into perspective over your next 5 or 10 years once you become property owners.
Because I suppose what people look for is either something they can add to, something that they can grow into, but also then for something like this, future options, which is kind of what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is exciting. But yeah, there's no doubt about it. Like, people build phenomenal wealth when they minimize the amount of moves. I mean, they don't go through the selling costs, they don't go through stamp duty on the way in again, and they don't have the disruption of a move in general. So it's like that good old adage of buying sometimes the worst home on the best street. And if you can put a second story on, it seems to be the most popular way to turn the original home into something, that's like the one of the best homes on the street.
Yeah, and in the Northern Beach, it's becoming much more popular. Since I've started doing my house, I've noticed every other house doing it now as I go past it. It's like when you own a yellow car, you notice more yellow cars.
But I think you must realize that in certain suburbs, particularly over the Northern Beaches, in the course of a decade, 10 years, some property values have doubled. So there's really good equity that's been built into the property. People have paid down their mortgages considerably, and so now they're looking at potentially a move, but minus selling costs, stamp duty, and those transactional disruptions, or they're looking at adding a second story and kind of getting their dream home in the location they already love. Yeah. And it's sometimes at a fraction of the price.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And we'll dive into price a little bit later, but where do you want to start in terms of putting the second story on?
Well, I'm sure you've this is where we're going to turn to you for some Q&As, fire some questions. We've even got Mark joining us for some Instagram live, I think. I think they probably calculate it on a per square meter rate. Correct me if I'm wrong, to begin with.
Yeah, per square meter rate, along with obviously material costs
and finishes.
As well. Sometimes you can include finishes. In our scenario, we did not include finishes like flooring, paint, and installation of a kitchenette that we're doing as well.
Right. So you're kind of getting the builders in to add the second story, make sure it's watertight like what you see here.
Yeah.
And then some of the internal fit out you can either contract out yourself or
Yeah.
do it your own?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So we got the bathroom upstairs is tiled, it's waterproofed. Obviously toilet vanity, mirrored shaving cabinets in.
Yep.
All of that we had as part of the contract. But things like flooring, carpet, the kitchenette, and painting, we've done outside of the contract.
Right.
So that cost is not included when you sign that contract.
What I want to know is how long does it take?
Well, we started it in June, I believe, of 2025.
Okay.
Now it's February 2026, so it's been about 8 months. We have just installed the flooring. Carpet, I believe, was installed on Friday last week.
Upstairs?
Yep, upstairs.
Can you still live in the house?
Yes,
Whilst it's been done?
and in some cases you can, some cases you can't. In our case, we could. When they were taking the roof off, they weren't really removing the entire roof. They were just removing
The peak.
Yeah.
So you keep your, like, I think they call it truss running that way.
Yeah, that's right. So we were able to still live in the house. We were not getting rained on. We had a ceiling, had a roof on while they started, which is a massive bonus for us because we didn't want to have that extra expense of renting somewhere or inconvene any other family members or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, that alone is a massive win. If you can
Yeah.
live in your property and do the addition at the same time,
Yeah.
that's like a dreamy scenario. Sure, you're going to have construction fence and, the house wrapped like that for a short time, but that is a massive win. And I guess these additions could be anywhere from 60 square meters, which internally would be a typical 2-bedroom apartment. If you think about that size addition to a house and a footprint. So a lot of 3-bedroom homes would be about 100 square meters internally. If you think about them putting a 2-bedroom apartment on top, you can get your 2 beds, your landing, or another living upstairs, bathroom, and maybe a small kitchenette.
Yeah, that's right. And that's exactly what we've done. So we've got 3 bedrooms on downstairs, our single level home, and our extension with the second story has just added another 2 bedrooms, a bathroom as well, and a kitchenette too.
Do you know, one thing I found interesting was that you don't necessarily need to have a brick structure
No.
on the ground floor to be able to do this. The assessment gets done on what are the load-bearing walls, where can they put the weight for upstairs, how is that then weight transferred through the original building down onto the concrete slab or pillars in your case.
Yeah.
And then the cost saving areas is they obviously try to keep plumbing above plumbing areas, so bathrooms above bathrooms, and also look at staircases, try and keep those entry points in the same place.
That's absolutely right. And in my lucky scenario, we have pretty strong brick pillars under the house, which are still in really good condition. We had an engineer come out just to assess them and make sure everything was ticked and all okay, which minimized any risk for failure. And then our single story home has a long stretch of load-bearing walls, which is our hallway, which really helps support that second story coming on. So we didn't have to have any more reinforced load-bearing walls or poles or beams. There was a temporary one for the construction of the staircase, but once that staircase came in, it pretty much held itself, so that temporary beam was removed once the stairs were done.
Can we ask the rudest question?
Yeah.
What did it cost?
Yeah, cost was an estimated circa $385,000 for the second story as part of a contract. And then obviously there's all of your add-ons that you have excluded from the contract, like your finishes and things like that.
Yeah, but look, I have to bring this back to like an apartment analogy. Imagine going out either to build the accommodation that you desired, so to give yourself the same internal footprint, say you go buy a 2-bedroom apartment just to give yourself the accommodation that you either require or you desire, you'd spend the same, in that same footprint, you'd spend $1 million.
Yeah.
Maybe more because it's brand new.
Yeah.
So $1.2 million for a brand new 60 square meter 2-bedroom apartment in DY down the road.
Yeah.
and that's, that makes this building look cheap, with respectfully to what you get for your money. Like it's a really clever improvement. And got a few comments here. We won't air them, because yeah, it's just a good. I think we will air one.
Take it off.
We're not sure who's on online here, but look, if there are questions, this is a live show. You can comment away.
All right. Well, and also on top of that, another point of value is the position you're in when you're doing this, which I hadn't realized until my dad pointed it out, that we achieve views now as well.
Yeah, well.
So being at Storey Plateau, you're already elevated about 100 meters above sea level. But in the single-story home, there weren't views. Plus, a lot of neighbours around have built up, which just minimalizes your chances of views storey if you're on a single-story home. But with this second story, we actually now have water views, city views from Storey Plateau all the way towards Manly to the city, and all around as well.
As a person that's experienced the build, is there anything that you'd, is there a couple of tips you could give?
Be patient. It does take some time. Any day that it rains is obviously a no work day. So also add 10% onto your, total costs just for safety.
Yep.
And you could even add that on for time as well. So if you're looking at 6 months of construction, just add a little bit more, just because of those rainy days and things not lining up. It does happen. If you are able to live in your property still whilst the second story is being added or any renovations are being done, it is noisy throughout the day, and it does get to you a little bit. But I mean, at the end of the day, you just got to remember what you're doing, and what it's going to be like, and the benefits you're going to have once it's finished.
Yeah, nice. I guess from a real estate perspective, what we give our clients in terms of advice and pointers along the way is we look at the finished product. We look at what the client's design will build the home into. We take into consideration things like access, whether they're intending it to be feeling like two separate dwellings. Although they can't separate the titles, it almost gives you that feeling of dual occupancy.
Yeah.
We look at where costs can be minimized. So the sort of, the obvious stuff is stairs and stairwells and access, because that's all dead space. You've got to have it, but it's trying to minimize the amount of floor space that you can maximize. Keeping those wet areas above each other for the plumbing. So that's like bathrooms, trying to reduce sort of roofing complexities, but I guess that's where you speak with your builder. And then just sort of compliance. I guess if you do a bit of planning ahead of time and you can get some approvals done, I think that's where people get stuck, sort of with the paperwork. You obviously don't want to be in a house where you've got no roof on it and then you're finding that out. So get your approvals done first, work out exactly what you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. And the best thing is to trust the builder you have as well. It just makes things a lot easier, because it is a stressful situation.
Yeah.
You're putting a lot of money into something that's very, very delicate and could go wrong in many ways if you don't make the right decisions and speak with the right people. I think that's one of the biggest things that we experienced, just having a builder that we could talk to all the time. We even had a few leaks throughout the construction, but the builder we have from Ad Style in the Northern Beaches did really well just to keep us up to date, get people in as soon as possible to rectify anything, and that just put the stress at ease a little bit more for us, especially my dad.
There you go. What a great topic. Very insightful. Not only the man that's done it himself, but someone certainly curious of the process. And we have seen clients make real success of this. And, the average family moves 3 times buying and selling. in their lives. It's not actually that much, and this is something where you might get another 10, 20 years out of your house.
Yeah.
Build some really good wealth. Doing so.
Absolutely. Well, hope you guys enjoyed. You can tune in again next Monday at 8 p.m. with some of our colleagues. But if you have any questions about things like this, feel free just to drop a comment in. We're always active, or even come into our office down in DY, and we can help you out with any questions at all. Billy Drew is on Novak Properties Instagram as well, and I've got an Instagram too, Thomas Sims, Novak Properties. If you want to just shoot us a DM, feel free to do so. We're always happy to help.
There you go. Have a good evening.
Guys. Catch you later.
See you later.